Hi guys, welcome to today's class. And I'm sorry because of me, you guys missed last class, but it's okay. We can compensate this year. It's not much to learn. It's all only digital stuff, and I've got all the internet links which you want to read about it, so you can actually see videos and learn. So it's getting more interesting, this particular topic. So if you can see the screen, last week we just finished it with a touch location and the sound comparison thing, which was the first whole part of the learning process of contemporary process, where how buildings are being digitally done and things like that. Now the second whole part of this unit is going to have this particular details where we are going to experience we are going to experience design with artists, and it's going to be fully in 3D. It's going to be difference between 3D experiencing of people with digital art and design. So if you look at the screen now, technology and art is the second subtopic which we have here on the unit. So as we all know, technology and art is like nowadays it's getting into this big they are like literally coincidental, which they are together. So technology in art adds, how it works is a mix of different types of media which allows human interaction though. So that is how that is what is technology of art, which has been evolved now or innovative. So how technology affects art? So if you can see the screen, artists started transition from being from the painters and the sculptures, people who do sculptures and people who sculpt. They used paint and cement into digital artists. So they are turning from the old age to the new type of artists which they do, so which is called the digital artists or the 3D artists. Okay. So art influences technology as much as technology affects art. So which is, see, this is the thing which we already know. There's nothing to like read the line and then explain. There's nothing very it's not a definition. It's a very general thing. Let's get into the actual thing. So the first thing which we are going to look at is some of the technological or the innovative art forms which have been developed. So first one is called the beauty of air, as this picture shows. So beauty of air is nothing but some that's this person who has devised this particular device which will absorb the dirty air. Okay, the beauty of dirty air, which will absorb the dirty air, and it will create a kind of modern art which is there on the facade, where each color is given to each pollutant in the air. So it's a very interesting thing. So this was created by the artist Dmitry Morzov. Okay, so Dmitry Morzov, in a way to make pollution beautiful. So his aim was that. So if you see the second point, he built a device completely with a little plastic nose that uses sensors which can measure dust and other typical pollutants, including carbon monoxide, formaldehyde, and all that organic chemistry kind of stuff which is there. So what is the catch in this particular thing? The sensors in this particular data sensor will sense what are the different types of pollutants which are there in the air. Okay. So what happens then is this device gives separate colors for different pollutants. So for example, if it's methane, it's yellow. For formaldehyde, it will be orange, and and carbon monoxide, it will be red. So this picture shows that each there are so many pollutants in the air, and this device is given so many colors for so many pollutants which exist in the air. So Morzov's device then grabs its still images from the movie and prints them out. Okay. So we can see this here, particularly in this particular. So this page is a page which is there in the internet, which explains 7 ways technology is changing how art is made. So if you come here, most of the things which we are going to discuss today are there in this one single page itself. So I can show you the others also. So how so this is what the Russian artist Dmitry Morzov has devised a way to make pollution beautiful. Dmitry Morzov. So this particular type was made by this person, and see, these are some of the very different technological art and innovative art which we can experience. So this has all been done. So this is the part where Dmitry Morzov. So Russian artist Dmitry Morzov has devised to make pollution beautiful, even if this is purpose to make us aware of how much is out there. So they just given a small explanation about how Dmitry Morzov is kind of showing us what he has done. So this page gives wired.com is this. See if you want to learn even in life, if you want to learn a lot of things from about technology and how architecture is going into architecture and design is going into technology. If you come into this website called Wired, so you will know that this is a very technological website which has got so many things which is happening. Okay, so this website, this video will explain how Dmitry Morozov has made an impact. So you can see this video. Now, if you see the second one, it's called Assemblance. Assemblance is nothing but Assemblance is a way of interactive zone which we make people walk through. It's there in London. Okay, if we can see Assemblance here, I'll show you. See, Assemblance is there. So Assemblance, we've got a small video which shows Assemblance here. So Assemblance is a kind of a zone where you put people inside, and there are these laser lights which are shot down from the ceiling to the floor. So what happens when you move towards this laser lights with very small formal movements? Now if you can see the screen, you can see the light actually interacting with the human. So the movements you make, or what type or what body language which you make, differentiates what the light can be or what the color can be. Now, for the sake, if you see this, if you can see this, they're creating a loop, and the light of the movement of the light actually changes into a loop itself. It creates some grid which is there downside. So now he's trying to move. It's kind of a magic stuff. Now he's trying to move the curtain kind of stuff. So this is one part where it was by designed by artists, and this the main thing of this the main catch of this particular assemblance is the structure. For instance, it was likely to fall. See, they built it, but it was likely to fall apart is what they're telling. Okay, so umbrellium is where the assemblance structure is situated in London. So the colored laser beams, this it is designed to encourage visitors to create light structures on and floor drawings by moving through colored laser beams and smoke. So basically interaction with light. So that is how assemblance works. I can put you through that link, and you can see that video is explained, and a lot of videos are explaining the umbrellium and the assemblance which is there in London. A lot of new videos also are there. So next one is called as the petting zoo. The petting zoo is, if you can see the screen, another favorite and digital revolution they call. Is an experience in petting zoo. Okay, digital revolution is an experience itself in petting zoo. So what happens is snake-like tubes hanging from the ceiling. Okay, snake-like tubes hanging from the ceiling. These are very responsive tubes, bending and moving and changing colors based on how they read your movements, sounds, and touch. So this is very interesting. How are these tubes being So how are these tubes being used in from the ceiling to put you there down? For example, if you see this video, now this is called as the petting zoo. Petting zoo. So if you can see here, these are the type of the tubes. So these are the tubes which are put down from the ceiling, and as you can see, as a person interacts with these tubes, it looks more alien kind of stuff. But a person interacts, these tubes actually interact with them. It seems like something out of Spider-Man's first movie, Doctor Octopus stuff, but it is a technological innovation which they have done. So this is how they put the tubes in the software, where they give them coding and analysis about how they should interact with a human when a human comes into interaction with them. So this video totally explains about and narrates about how these tubes are being used in getting into this particular form of interaction. So the basic part of this particular thing is that how humans actually interact with more of mechanical stuff which is being coded by computers and software. So that is called the petting zoo. Now rising color space. Now rising color space is another interesting factor where abstract wall is painted on the Berlin Wall. Now this is an abstract painting which is done. For example, if you see here, so this is a wall which is being painted by this particular robot. So if you can see here, see this is an abstract artwork of this particular robot. So see these people who do these robots, give them give them actually good what coding and things to the robot understands. So if we can look at this video which we is explained about why, where, and how the robot works. This video is more of a very explainable factor where it will explain why have they really done this design. See, they all see people always want to explore in art. For example, we explore with paintbrushes, canvases, we explore with walls, murals, and things like that. But how do we actually put technology inside and explore is our question. So for that, the answer most of the people and many people who they found out are things like this, which we are going to see, which we are seeing, is how technology is come directly in connection with art. So if you can see the small video which is playing on the screen, this robot is actually moving up and down with the coding which was given to him, and he's actually drawing, straight lines, or it's, let's say, it's even scribbling. But that on the whole becomes an art itself. So if we can give them a, for example, if we can take somebody's face, for example, Abraham Lincoln, if we can take his face, and if we can code that particular space face coordinates to this robot, he will bring about a sketch and a kind of painting on the wall which will actually be the face of the person itself. So that is how this particular things work. The rising color space. It's a very interesting thing. So the creation of artists Julian Andreer and Michael Haas, okay, the word walker, which looks like a flattened iRobot Roomba. So it looks like a flattened iRobot is what they call, is constantly overwriting its own work. So cycling through, so it's overwriting its own work, like how kids do. Cycling through 8 colors as it glides up vertical walls for 2-3 hours at a time before it reaches a battery change. So, for example, so it works for 2-3 hours, which will go up and down on the same wall, rewriting or writing on top of the same work it was been doing. It can do a work for about 3 hours and until its battery needs to be changed. Okay, so has the creator of Wordwalker has explains the process of creation is ideally endless. So that is one example this robot can give us in this particular artwork, which is called as the rising color space. So finding of inner birds is the next one. So finding of inner birds is a very interesting thing. If we see here, so when we go to this, so this is Assemblance, Wordwalker, and the Rain Room. Okay, if we go here, we have the Beauty of Dirty Air, and then now we have finding your inner bird. So this is actually one artwork which is being interacted. Now, we've seen so many shows which puts this particular kind of screens on the back of them. Now if you can see the screen, it actually, see, the person is actually giving the screen the giving a movement, and the screen actually predicts it to be a bird. For example, if you can see here, the person does a movement like a falcon, the bird actually comes out from this particular artwork. So this is how interactive the space goes as you do movements. So the screen has got sensors which senses your movement, and which senses this particular speed of what you're going to move, or the body language, where it actually makes you itself as the art piece on the screen. Now if you can see this lady here, see this lady, she's there on the screen, and as she goes down, the screen shows like her body is fully collapsing with a lot of birds coming out. This is a very interesting art factor which which are done in a lot of malls and a lot of city centers which are there abroad. Now what is the catch in this particular finding of the inner birds? So this finding of the inner birds, so this is a treachery of sanctuary is what is called. Okay, this to explore creative process through interactions with digital birds. So the gallery, the visitors are sent in, and the second, there are a lot of screens which give you this interest. The first is the person's shadow reflected on the screen. The second, the shadow is perked away from virtual birds diving from above. Okay. The third screen, things get better. If you see how you look in a majestic set of gray giant wings that flaps once you move, and that says the says milk captures the instance when a creative thought transforms into something larger than an original idea. This is what is basically how this thing works. Now if you see the video, you guys will understand even far more better. Okay, so that is the fourth point, and then next moving on to